What's up? It's Friday night again. What you're listening to? It's great to be back. We've missed you. Hope everyone's had a good week. It's going to be a great show. Record store owners, record label owners. It's going to be a classic. Another classic on the books, guaranteed. Daniel, it's good seeing him.
Yeah, likewise.
Daniel, Tony, Jeff.
Yeah.
What's it all about? If you're new here, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about a bunch of records. We've got like 5 records each. We've been having a good time listening to. We're going to have a good time nerding out about 5 records each. Let's see if anyone's in the chat. Audience participation is always appreciated. Hey, there we go. First customers.
Again, Vince, my practical neighbor, just 5 minutes down the road from me.
There you go. That's about it. I think that's about it for the housekeeping. Regular viewers know what we're going to do. If you're new here, like I just said, we're going to have a good time nerding out about 20 records. So in about 2 hours, let's try and stick to the 2-hour format. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
Yes, me too. I'm going to do an old-fashioned short, sharp shock for my first pick. Some Sapporo City Hardcore. The kings of Sapporo City Hardcore, in fact, I first heard this band on the Sapporo City Hardcore Flexi compilation way back in like 1988, put out by the incredible MCR company, who I used to work for back then. I'm talking about Slang. Rest in misery. I don't think nobody really talked about this last year. It came out in Japan in 2024 on CD, and then Prank Records put it out at the end of 2025. Kind of went under the radar. Long running band, veterans, been around since '88. Like I said, I know this band kind of has like, I'm gonna say 3 like different components to their music, and they kind of fluctuate depending on the era of the band. They have some New York hardcore in there, some like New York hardcore heft. They have like traditional Japanese hardcore, and they also have like crusty D beats going on as well. And depending on the record, depending on the era, like one is sometimes more prominent than the other one. I think this one is like kind of a perfect like distillation of all 3 of those things. It's fucking angry. It's like, I don't think this band has ever sounded angry. I mean, they've always sounded pretty angry, but like they sound like super angry on this record. It's like 9 songs in 13 minutes. All the lyrics are like super angry and political, which I kind of often say this. I don't know if it's actually true, but I don't know. I think like you don't really get so much straight ahead like political lyrics from Japanese hardcore bands. That's not the case with the Slang. It's like stop killing children for oil, racism must die, dirty rotten LDP, which is like a direct attack on the Japanese government that we've had for decades. I don't know. You don't really sort of get these like straightforward like political lyrics so much with Japanese bands, but man, I think you can kind of like sum up this band's sound by looking at who they've done Split 7 inches with, because it's quite a variety of bands, and when you hear all these bands, it kind of sums up like all of Slang's influences. And the first one, I had forgotten about this one because they did a Split 7-inch with 25 to Life.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day. And I'm not endorsing this band for some weird reason. That guy is going to show up again in like one of my other picks, and I don't know. I don't know how he sneaked in there twice. So I don't know, but
I live in Baltimore. He sometimes sneaks directly into the store, and I see him in person in real life many times.
Lucky you.
Because he doesn't live far. He lived in Baltimore for like many years, and would just randomly come into the store pretty often. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd forgotten about this aspect. I know like Slang have always been like tight with Madball and stuff, but I'd kind of forgotten about the 25 to Life thing. But 25 to Life, Face of Change, like a straight edge band from Sapporo, Extreme Noise Terror, Mind Eraser, World Burns to Death. They've done like split singles with all of these bands, and it kind of all those different bands kind of sum up the different influences of this band, I want to say. Absolutely killer. They don't have the guitarist that everyone loves. I don't know if anybody saw the Slang in the US. They have a very enigmatic guitar player.
For sure.
Bruce Lee, I know, like the Denim. He played he's a metal guitarist. He played in a band called Silverback, or like an old school Sapporo like thrash metal band. He's not in the band anymore, but obviously you can't see him on the record, but I just have this image of him whenever I listen to the Sly. I always imagine him in my mind when I listen to
I totally remember him. Like,
right.
I mean, I think this has come up when I've been on the show before.
It did. I was getting deja vu there.
Yeah. They played this amazing show in Raleigh, and I just remember him shirtless, like
yes,
shredding and
legs apart.
Yeah.
They got this like young guitarist now. He's like less of a shredder, but it's still a great guitar player. Yeah, it's an interesting band because they're kind of big in Japan, like big because they're they're on Pizza of Death, which I always kind of lazily say is like the fat records of Japan, but it isn't really. Not really. It kind of is. It's run by the guys from High Standard, but and Fat Mike would not have put this out, for sure. So I think it's a lazy comparison. But they're a big label, and so the Slang would play like these big shows that like another sort of Japanese hardcore band like would ordinarily not get to play because they're on Pizza of Death. But great record. I think it went a bit under the radar because it came out at the end of last year. But check it out. Easy to get. Prank Records.
Prank, yeah.
Rest in misery. And you know what? I realized that I had kind of foolishly offloaded a lot of my other Slang albums, so I went out and bought like.
Nice.
I used to have these on vinyl. Now I've got the Japanese CDs, but Japanese CDs are pretty nice. So,
is it really only 13 minutes long?
Yeah, that's what it says. But it not that it's boring, but it does feel a bit longer than that. But
yeah, I have not given that record the time that I would like to have, but I didn't remember it being that short.
Yeah, when I read that, but then it is apparently, but it's weird because it's like it doesn't feel that short. It feels a bit longer, not because it's boring. It's a great record, but yeah, that surprised me. But it's just 9 songs.
I think Slang. I should remember this exactly, but they played in Celebrated Summer when they did that U.S. tour. When I was in my older location, I think we had them in the store, and I think the reason I have trouble remembering is because they specifically said that no one could take photographs or videotape them when they were playing, which is a traditional Japanese.
Yes, I was gonna say that could be any number of like Japanese.
Yeah. But in America, it's not as much of a thing, right?
Yeah, that when they played in Raleigh, they played a club show, but it wasn't all ages. So they played a show in our practice space at like 3 a.m. for the kids. It was very cool. It's like one of my favorite like hardcore memories.
Wow, he's a cool guy. The singer, he does a lot of like political stuff, and like when there's like disasters and stuff in Japan, of which there are a lot, he always organizes like charities for kids and stuff, and like does a lot of stuff like that because he's kind of got the clout. There's a live house in Sapporo called Club Counteraction, which he's run for decades, and it's still there. He's been super active in Sapporo and the punk scene. Yeah, that's my first pick. Slang. Rest in misery. Prank Records 2025.
Cool.
All right, Daniel. What's your first pick?
So I've kind of a tradition when I come on the show of starting with a plug. So I'm gonna do that. This week we just got the test pressings for the next release on Sorry State. I've got that here. It's a 12-inch by Shaved Ape from Philadelphia, who we released a tape by Shaved Ape. Ooh, man, it's been like 3 or 4 years ago now, and it's a solo project. It's Vince, who played drums in Sickoids. He's been in like whole bunch of bands over the years. But he plays all of the instruments and sings. He wrote all the songs. We released a demo tape from them whenever that was, like 2022 or something. And he recorded a second session with, what is it, 5 more songs that's even like faster, harder. I was going to say you started with a short, sharp shock. I think this is shorter, sharper, and more shocking.
Wow, a short, sharp, shock-shaved ape. That was hard to say. I'm actually proud I pulled that off.
Very nice. I could not have. But yeah, so this is on the A side, it's 5 new Shaped Ape songs, and then it's very short, so we put the first tape on the B side.
Oh, nice.
We found this. It's going to be in full color on the actual album, but
nice.
This amazing photo of the skater Ricky Barnes from the 80s. He's like wearing a rudimentary Peni shirt and ollieing over a deck here. And the lore I got from the photographer Chuck Holtz was that this is the day that Ricky Barnes decided to drop out of school. Wow. So you can just see the pure elation on his face as he says goodbye to learning forever. But yeah, it's a killer record. I think people are going to be real stoked about it. Should be out like, I don't know, a month, something like that. Yeah,
cool. I do enjoy these plugs.
Yeah, I gotta put this whole thing a little bit.
What we're thinking, April maybe, something like that.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe a little sooner if it.
Okay, cool.
Everything works out. You never tell. Sometimes you send off records to be pressed, and they come back in like 4 weeks, and then like we're still waiting on this Psycho Galera record that was supposed to be here in early November, and now it's we're well into February and still don't have it. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's a fast one.
Nice. All right.
All right. I have it's a tiny little cheat, but it's connected to my pick, and it's a little bit of housekeeping for my personal housekeeping. I maybe like 3 times ago that I was on here, so I don't remember when that was. One of my picks was Baltimore's Law and Order, the 7-inch that came out in like 1991 or whatever. And when I was talking about it, I was bemoaning the fact that no one had reissued it, and that there's extra tracks and stuff, but it's never been reissued. And someone did in between now and then. So not my pick, but I just quickly wanted to say that B Corps, I think out of Spain.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
They did the Law and Order record, and it's the 7-inch, and there's like 13 extra tracks or whatever. So it doesn't look like anybody really carried it in the United States. It seems difficult. Bunker Punks.
Oh, yeah. So, sorry, State. We have copies sitting at the DHL depot in Raleigh, awaiting them to figure out their stupid ass customs charges.
So I didn't get any weird customs charges, but it sat in customs for like a month. Like it was just sitting there forever. I don't know what the problem was, but it just sat there forever. Nobody charged me anything extra, but yeah. So anyway, this got reissued, and it's not my pick today because it was already my pick 3 times ago, but it's connected to my pick, which might be a little controversial since I had pulled it yesterday, but then I saw people discussing it in the on the internets. But the live Void record that Outer Battery Records has just put out, and as it was pointed out, this says 1982 live, but in fact it's actually 1983. They've already realized that was a mistake, and they said that they were going to correct it on further pressings. So anyway, already out of the gate, a little bit of weirdness or whatever. And it seemed like some people were bemoaning the fact that it's very scrappy. The quality is, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of was like, I'm going to defend it and just say, first of all, it's live hardcore from 1983. The fact that any version of this exists, period, is amazing. I actually think the sound quality is pretty good. It's totally, even if it was shitty, I'd still be like, well, it's live Void that we've, yet to hear. But in this case, it was I think the dude from Government Issue, Tom Lyle, recorded it, and maybe he had like some kind of an actual setup. It wasn't like a shitty like tape in the audience type situation. It was pretty good, and I think you can tell that. I mean, it definitely is like not some shitty bootleg where you're putting your ear to the fucking speaker trying to ascertain what the hell is going on. It's right off the jump pretty fucking loud and clear sounding. Yeah, I mean, the band is playing, you know, there's a sloppiness happening, you know what I mean? But like, or a chaoticness, I guess would be the better way to say it. But I mean, that is Void. I was not there to see them back then. So this is the only real, you know, other than like YouTube videos and stuff like that, right? What are you gonna, you know, what document really is there of that stuff? So I was just glad to see it. And there's a fanzine it comes with. This one was a mail order one. So they did a certain amount on glow in the dark vinyl. And those came with a fanzine that looks like this. There's not really any writing, but there's a lot of flyers, including the reason I chose these together. They played with Law and Order a couple of times. So Law and Order is on one of these flyers here, so it kind of ties a little bit there. But yeah, cool photos of the band, a bunch of flyers, some of which I'd seen before, some of which I never have. But altogether, a really cool package. They do, from the notorious final album that like never seems to get released, even though, you know, there's bootlegs of it maybe, but like no official release ever. I think Bloodlust is on that record, the later one. So there's a live version of that one here. I think it's Bloodlust, maybe Spiral Staircase also. Maybe 2 songs that are on that later record that never seems to get released. So anyway, I think it's worthwhile, but some other people seem to like, you know, die hard. Yes.
I feel like Void, you know, like sometimes with records, you can tell that like the band just rips and like, you know, they went into the studio and they got that or they didn't. And then other times you could tell this band had a really good day in the studio or this, like they captured some kind of special moment. And I've always felt like that was kind of clearly the case with Void. Like there's something just sort of like, I don't know if I could describe it, but it's like you can hear that record and feel like if you saw Void live 5 times, you'd get 5 different Voids.
Wow.
You know?
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's kind of like not surprising that it's, I don't know, it doesn't have the same magic as like that one recording.
I mean, from the video footage, you know, from the stuff that exists on YouTube, and even from just listening to this, right? I mean, it really seems like they're just like swinging for the fucking rafters.
Yeah.
For like the second they start, they're just like, and you know, like if you're playing in a band, in a hardcore band, and you want to make an impact, like playing live, right? You know, you don't want to just be standing there trying to accurately play your songs perfectly. At least, I mean, I don't. So, right, it seems like they're just trying so hard to just like put 1,000% into physicality and just like, you know, swinging for it, that I guess you're not going to get like a pure, accurate representation of like what the studio stuff, you know, sounds like. You know, I guess at all. Plus, I mean, just I wasn't there, right, for this time frame at all. But the chaotic nature of those shows, of just like kids just going completely wild in a way that is different than how kids go wild now. I think also that would probably, there would be like a gap in between what is possible to accurately document live, you know, versus the record.
But that one is like on YouTube of them at like the Wilson Center, maybe. Like,
there's one where they're in Maryland where like the second they start, he's doing these crazy pike jumps, like one after the other, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just 1,000%. You know, it's like all vibe. As the kids say, you know what I mean? It's just like all vibe, and you know, whatever is going to exist of the songs being played accurately is just like, who fucking cares? It's just pushing forth, you know, a real intense performance, and that's all that matters. And that's what I like about, you know, again, like, that's what I like about it. So
I always remember one time I was like driving home from Richmond, and I was on a really long drive where it's like 3 hours or something, and I was like listening to music on shuffle, and somehow I guess I must have accidentally clicked off the shuffle button, and it started just playing songs in alphabetical order. And it took me a long time to notice that like every song I was listening to started with the letter D, but it played all three versions of Dehumanized, like from that session CD and the split, and it played them in order, and like the song devolves over the course of those three recordings. Like they pull out the guitar parts and like replace them with feedback, and it's just like, oh, I don't know. It's the opposite of what most bands do. They kind of like refine and tighten things up. But Void was like, no, let's like loosen things up and create space in the songs. And like, I mean, amazing decision.
Wow.
I think what makes them legendary is that they were on some other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were not attempting to be, whether it was an attempt or not, they just were not like other bands. And yeah, one way that might express itself is like, yeah, how can we make the song like more fucking chaotic, and that's studio stuff. That's not even playing it live.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Nice. All right. Jeff, what's your first pick?
Nice. We're gonna go back in time.
Yes.
This came out in reissue 40 years after the original pressing. First time reissued in Cleveland, Ohio. The Mice. This was from Bill Fox was a teenager when they recorded this, and it's probably, I don't know, I would say like my favorite of the like power pop records. Yeah, I mean, Bill Fox is probably, I would say, like my favorite songwriter if I had to pick, I guess. And yeah, just having this come back out, 41 years later is pretty sick. Sounds awesome, looks great, looks just like the original. Scat Records put it out, they did a great job. It looks perfect.
So is that like a thing from the Guided by Voices universe? I'm like not familiar with that at all.
So like they were, so this was like, it's Scat put out like a bunch of the Guided by Voices stuff, but yeah, like Bill or the Mice was like a high school band, and they put out like this record. It's 6 songs, and then like a full length couple 7-inches, and then Bill put out a couple solo records in the mid 90s. Like part of what I think is so cool about him is that he's like a total mystery. Like he like turned down some like major label stuff, kind of like just like hung around Cleveland, didn't really play a lot of shows, just sort of like disappeared. And then I guess it was like 2012, we played a show in Cleveland at Mayhall's Bowling Alley, and for some reason he just opened the show, which was so sick. We were all like obsessed with him. Yeah, he just put out a new like solo record a few months ago, but yeah, they just like, it's a band that like didn't really do much, but kind of was like one of those cult classic like go nowhere bands.
Yeah,
I have a few of those on order for the store. They haven't showed up, but yeah,
it's awesome. I love it.
I've seen quite a bit of talk about that record online. People seem to be super excited about it being reissued and stuff.
I would love an original, but yeah, it's like $250, and this was I think $16, so I'll take it.
Right. Nice. All right, I'm going to change up my order to kind of fit in with the Void talk. Now, this is a band that has nothing to do with Void. They're a modern band. Actually, they're an anti-modernization band, but we'll get to that. They're a Japanese band, and they're a band that they really cannot be contained on record. I mean, they can't be. They've got some records out, not the one I'm going to show, but I don't think they've ever recorded in the studio. They've recorded in like temples and stuff like that in Japan. You guys might have heard of this band because their YouTube, their performances in New York and stuff are kind of quite well known, and people kind of freak out when they see them. They played in like a guerrilla show. I think it was a guerrilla show, like in Times Square a few years ago. They're a Japanese band. They just put out this live record. Talking about live records, it's the Seppuku Pistols. Let me tell you all about the Seppuku Pistols. Well, for a start, Seppuku is like the traditional.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of a clever name. They're a 10-piece band. Well, last week I talked about Turtle Island, who are behind me, who are also like a 10-piece band that mix like traditional Japanese music with punk. Super interesting band. They've been around since like the late 90s. This band is kind of like that, but much wilder. Like that new Turtle Island record has a bit of like traditional Japanese folk music. It's quite melodic. This fucking chaos. It's like I don't know if anybody's seen like a taiko, you know, that like traditional Japanese drums that, you know, these strapped to your body. Like if you've ever seen like one of those performances, it's pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've seen my junior high school kids do it, and that was powerful. And I've seen professional taiko, you know, performances at temples and festivals and stuff. That's powerful. Then you've got this fucking band who's like 10 anti-modernization punks with like, you know, the shamisen, like the traditional stringed instruments, like the Japanese ones, put through distortion pedals. And like, I'm not sure exactly how many taiko drummers there are, like maybe 5 or 6, but like playing almost like blast beat speed. Wow. It's absolutely, actually, I kind of didn't know what to expect. I mean, it's a live record. It's super lo-fi. I mean, how are you going to record like 10 drums? It's like an off-the-board recording. It was recorded in London. This place called the Paper Dress Vintage Clothes Shop in Hackney Central in 2024. And I think when they were in England, they also played at Chaos from Chaos UK's 60th birthday party. Someone organized it for him. And, you know, the funny thing is they cover No Security by Chaos UK on the taiko drums and like the whistles and the traditional Japanese instruments. This is an insane band. It came out in Japan on Tang Deng Company, which is their own label. It's not an easy listen. It's almost like noisecore, almost, and it's like you hear the audience getting more and more excited because they cannot believe what they're seeing, and I can totally understand that because this is a wild fucking band. And they also do like Rip Off by Sham 69, and they also do I Want to Be Your Dog by the Stooges, but it's also almost unrecognizable. The only one I can like, okay, yes, that's No Security by Chaos UK. The others, I think, you know, I wouldn't know if I didn't have it written on the back. But man, this is a band you cannot contain on vinyl. But you know, they tried, and it's a pretty interesting record. I know that Tom from General Speech. I think Tom from General Speech is a fan. A lot of the guys that I know who are into like noisecore, like the Swankies and the Confused, they really like this band too. Even though they kind of sound nothing alike, there's just that element of like chaos in them. Go and check out some of their videos on YouTube. It's absolutely mind-blowing, like their performances. Just came out this year in Japan. Just came out, so that's my recommendation to check out a crazy ramshackle live record, which is really, really badly recorded. But you know, like I said, you can't like this band is impossible to contain on vinyl. They also have like 2 flexi discs, like as well. 1 song flexi disc, which they also recorded, like as I said, like in the grounds of a temple or something like that, because they can't record in the studio. But there must be like taiko drums records that were recorded in studios. But I guess when you've got like the distorted like shamisen and all this stuff going on, it's kind of hard to do a recording. But yeah, crazy record. Check out some of their YouTube performances. They're pretty mind-blowing. That's kind of a picture of the show. You can't really see what's going on. But, I mean, they wield these instruments. Like, when I see my students doing this stuff, they're pretty polite with it. These guys, they kind of wield them around. They have, like, cymbals strapped to their heads and stuff. And, like, it's pretty wild. Seppuku Pistols.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm extremely intrigued.
It's a pretty great band. I'm a fan.
Is there like YouTube footage of them playing, like
Oh,
live?
tons. Yeah, there's tons of that. Like tons of it. The best one is actually it's from the festival that Turtle Island organize in Toyota, which they create like all these. They build like these wooden stages that look like the olden days in Japan, and like Warhead have played there, and Order have played there, and there's a performance of the Seppuku Pistols playing there. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, once you've seen those, then you've got the record without the visuals and the live thing. You know, it's tough, but I think they did a pretty good job of like capturing this band. It's chaos on record. So, there you go. That's my second.
Cool.
Check it out, Seppuku Pistols. Yeah, but like this anti-modernization thing is hilarious too. Like, they're all like off grid and stuff, maybe, or like they're all like farmers or something. All right, Daniel, what's your second pick?
Yeah, so my next one, it's like kind of an old favorite that I've been revisiting for the first time in a long time. I thought I'd kind of talk about how I came back to it. I have been trying to play guitar more lately, which like I have been mostly a bass player, I think, for the past, I don't know, many years. Like I think I literally had not picked up a 6-string guitar in probably 3 or 4 years. Like a month or so ago, I was like, I'm going to play guitar. And I had this like Fender Mustang that I bought, I don't know, ages ago, and this like orange practice amp. And I plugged it in and I started playing around, and I was just like, this sounds like complete shit. Like, I was just like, man, have I just like, I guess I lost all my guitar skills in like, the 3 or 4 years that I put it down. And then I was like, I think I just hate this guitar. And I hate this amp. So I went and I had put down like my favorite guitar because I took it to a guitar shop, and a luthier told me that it was fucked and it was messed up. But I went and put new strings on it.
Oh, you got to play a song?
I thought about it, but this is my baby. It's a Gordon Smith guitar. These are handmade in Manchester, and it's
Leatherface.
That's
exactly.
Yeah, Leatherface guitars. Yeah.
So I got it. I did like I studied in England for a while, and my big goal in my trip was to find a Gordon Smith guitar, and I did it because I loved Leatherface and I loved the guitar sound specifically. And I think both Pete Shelley and Steve Diggle also used Gordon.
Did they really? Wow.
Yeah. And it basically, like, I put new strings on this, and they had told me the intonation was fucked and it wasn't going to sound good. But I plugged it. I got rid of that stupid ass Marshall or orange amp, and I plugged it into a Marshall. And I was like, a Gordon Smith through a Marshall playing a power chord is what an electric guitar sounds like.
And suddenly you sounded just like Dickie Hammond.
Kinda. Not really, but closer than I was with my other shit. But I just like sat there playing and like enjoying the sound, and it's kind of got me back revisiting a lot of that like sort of big guitar kind of 90s punk that like I was so into it for a time that I just kind of like overdosed on it and had to step away from it for a good long while. But one of the bands I loved, and people always ask me about because no one knows this band, and then if someone comes and flips through my records, like particularly my 7-inches, they're always like, who the fuck is Broccoli?
Oh,
I have so many Broccoli records. Like, I mean, they have, and I think I'm missing like 2 or 3 of their 7-inches, but like, what is this, like 12 or 15 7-inches or something? They're all different. And then they also have their full-length Home, which I think is kind of their
classic. I've got the recent reissue of that. It's a fantastic record. Yeah.
But my pick is actually their first 12-inch, which is this self-titled record, which I always kind of preferred to Home. Like, they're, to me, like when you first hear Broccoli, the singer sounds a lot like Blake from Jawbreaker, like a lot. There's a very like similar timbre to his voice, and Home especially is a very like downbeat kind of like slow sad record, and it kind of reminds me of like Dear You a little bit. It's not as produced, but this one, their first 12-inch, it's just 7 songs, and most of them are like pretty fast and short, but at the same time it's like I actually don't even know if they used Gordon Smith's. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, certainly, because like they just have that sound where like the guitar is just like roaring at you, but super melodic, and a lot of their I love the vocals, but a lot of the hooks here are in the guitars. They have these like little sort of simple like melodies that kind of carry the songs. And man, this just like sounded so good to me when I was listening to it, and I was like, surely Tony is into this shit. And
like
I have a bunch of the singles, and I have Home, but I don't have that one.
Me neither. I didn't actually even know.
You stabbed me in the heart. I'm like, I need that record. I'm like, why don't I have that record? That's crazy.
I didn't know about it either, to be honest with you.
I think it's, or no, I thought it was on Rugger Burger, but it's not. What label is that even on?
It's not a Snuffy Smile thing, obviously, because they were mostly a 7-inch label. But
no.
Yeah, I don't think I have all those singles either, but I have like 4 or 5 singles and Home, for sure. And yeah, I mean, when we at a certain point when a bunch of people in Baltimore got obsessed with Mega City 4, we were just like, okay, what's next? Oh, and Leatherface, right? But then we're just like, what's up? Okay, then it's going to be Drive. Then it's going to be Hootin' 3 Car. You know what I mean? And then it's like, there was no end to the tunnel that we would dig.
There's so much of it, right? From the UK, like there's so much of it. Like I showed that band Ran the other day, who didn't get most of their stuff released at the time. Finally, that stuff's great.
I'm glad you showed that, Mike, because I ordered those immediately for the store, and I got one of each for myself. Although I haven't checked them out yet, but I do have them there. Yeah, so yeah, falling down that hole and like those Broccoli singles and stuff. Yeah, it's just like there's so many good bands in that style.
Right, it's incredible actually, and they're mostly from like the north of England. There's kind of a grayness to it, like it's like Leatherface, I don't know. I mean, were Leatherface responsible for like spawning like so many of these bands? Were these bands already? I don't actually remember the exact timeline of this stuff, but it seemed like that way back then. All of a sudden there was Leatherface, and then there was like 300 other bands playing melodic hardcore with big guitars and like great melodies and stuff. But
I don't know if you mentioned it. Did you go to Sunderland? Were you there in Sunderland, where Leatherface are from? Have you been there?
I've been to Newcastle, which is kind of close, but I've not been to Sunderland.
Deep Sleep played in Sunderland in like, I don't know, 2011 or something like that. And I was just like, see you guys later. And I just like walked around listening to Leatherface, like walking around the shipyards, like a literal gray, rainy, like I'm just like, oh yeah, like I can tell this environment spawned this sound. These records were made by living in this fucking town. Is at least the impression, that I got when I was there.
I've kind of said this before, probably. I really, obviously there are a lot of American bands that were influenced by this stuff too, and I don't think any of them really ever got it quite right.
It's a British thing.
Yeah.
And specifically a northern thing.
Yeah.
I always remember like Logic Problem played in Edinburgh, and wherever we stayed is like kind of a punk house, and they had like stacks of tapes everywhere, and like my eye just immediately went to like a Broccoli cassette that hits me like the spine there, and I was like, oh my god, you have an original Broccoli tape. But he wouldn't give it up, but he was excited someone knew what it was.
Meantime Records too was another really important label that they're from Darlington, which is a bit south of Newcastle.
Yeah, the when when I was over there, so like, me and some other Baltimore people got obsessed with Leatherface and Mega City 4, relatively early. And we met when I went over with Strike Anywhere, we met this guy, Lloyd Chambers, who was a Mega City 4 roadie. And then we just started like communicating with him, like sending letters, and he would send us like shirts and flyers and stuff. And then that was probably like a little bit of a way that we were able to like, find out about some of the other bands at a time that the internet wasn't really, this would have been like 1999, 98, earlier, really. Well, yeah, maybe even way earlier than that, actually, because by that time, Leatherface had come over, right? They had gotten back together and come over at that point. Right?
In what year?
Like 99? 98, 99. They had already played in the U.S., so then this must have been a couple of years before. But I normally, just to touch on your story about the Gordon Smith, as a dumb singer of punk bands, I do not understand a single thing about guitar equipment or guitars. I mean, you could put a guitar in my hand and put a gun to my head, and I could not make one note. I could not make one chord for you. But I know about Gordon Smiths because my friend Dwayne was obsessed with them, and he was like, oh yeah, like he was the person that kind of also turned us on to Mega City 4 early. And he was like, yeah, they play Gordon Smiths and I'm obsessed with getting one. And so randomly, China Drum did a US tour. They played Baltimore, and Dwayne went up to the guy who was playing a Gordon Smith, and he just said, I will go home right now and trade you a Les Paul Gold Top for your Gordon Smith. And the dude was like, okay.
Damn, really?
And Dwayne drove back to like fucking almost DC, got a Gold Top, came back, and I think to this day still owns the Gordon Smith, the China Drum dude, recorded like Goose Fair with, or like whatever, one of those records, they're all great records. But I think he still has that Gordon Smith from that. So that's the only reason I know about that stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I would be like more into the minutia of like, what pressing.
I'm not like that about gear. I'm really like anti-gear. I have one. Well, I have two basses and two guitars, like one to keep at the practice bass and one to keep at home. And like I've always just been really skeptical that like, obviously like some stuff sounds different than others, but I've always been like a tone is in your fingers kind of guy. Like it's the player that really matters. But like, man, there's
John Coltrane up here.
But there is something special about that guitar and just knowing where it came from. And I remember hearing a story there. Even the pickups, they're hand wound. So I think if you go and visit the factory, like it's literally like a hand crank that it like winds the coils and the pickups. So you like, they make you a cup of tea and you turn the crank like 100 times and put a tally mark on the chalkboard, and then someone comes behind you and does the next ones. So, and I've heard people say there's bad ones too, that like, because they're all individually handmade. Everyone's just kind of.
Maybe you had a bad one.
According to this luthier, but fuck that.
I tell you who did have, we just mentioned them, but man, that band China Drum, they had one of the best guitar sound of all the GS bands that we could
I think you were talking about China Drum when you were talking about the Rand stuff. And
yeah.
Not watching that one live, but I was like, oh, I wish I could jump in the chat and just be like, despair.
That's also me a lot when I'm like watching these. I'm just like anything that's mentioned like that. I'm just like bang, 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 bang.
All right, Tony, what's your
shit? All right. Well, I didn't even know I had all these records out by this band because I just watched a documentary called The Secret Lives of Bill Bartell. And Bill was basically the main, person of White Flag. I've always been a White Flag fan. I love them. Strange band that either you don't care about, don't like, or are totally obsessed with. There's like no middle ground, I feel like, White Flag. You know what I mean? They're one of those bands like All or something like that, where there's no casual fans. We're just either like, fuck you, or I will die for you. And there's no real in between for that kind of shit. For White Flag, though, yeah, always been a fan, always loved them. Started off like really kind of like trolling hardcore, I guess. And then kind of, kind of turned into this kind of like cheap trick power pop, but still with elements of hardcore. So I think a lot of people really love Third Strike, which is kind of like they kind of got to the point where it's not as ramshackle as the earliest stuff. They kind of hit like a point. They hadn't quite moved past that into what I refer to as the cheap trick era band. You know what I mean? But I pulled WAYLT Kingdom. Actually, let's take this bag off of it. So this one, actually, it's a poor record you've chosen because it's black and purple, so it does not really show very well on the screen here. But there's a back cover of it.
Oh, there you go. There he is.
A little bit better.
Best mustache in hardcore.
Yeah. And this record, I mean, a lot of times when bands progress past what people would consider to be their prime, right? So in the case of White Flag, probably Third Strike, sometimes they just become too polished, or like, it's just too far from the initial thing. In this case, it is appreciably different, right? It doesn't sound like proper hardcore exactly any longer. It is moving into power pop, territory, but it's still very raw and very fast. So I think it's one of those records that if people were to throw it on, they wouldn't be like, oh, fuck this. They completely aren't a punk band at all anymore. They just took it too far. You know what I mean? Like, people might say that about Staring Into the Sun, or like, Grave for the World, where it's just like the steps, like the step was too big between what people liked and then what you're getting right now. In the case of White Flag, I think it's just like anybody that likes the hardcore stuff would not be bummed out to hear the scrappy kind of power pop era of the band. I know you don't like funny punk bands, Mike, and of course, like White Flag does kind of fall into this category a little bit.
It's funny though, because in the UK, the one that we got was Sgt. Pepper's, which I didn't know it's a singles comp or whatever, but we just thought it was one of their records, one of their albums. But it's not, right? But I didn't find that out till years later. But I liked that record a lot at the time when it came out. It came out on Wet Spots. Or like maybe even Alan from First Strike put it out. I don't remember, but yeah, that's the one that we got in the UK with that Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, that's one I don't have, but there's S's for Space. So we have the Sideways Black Flag bars for this one, and the more early hardcore stuff. There's Split with F. That's like definitely a little more, a little more hardcore. And
no, I think I have like a singles collection to like another singles collection thing of White Flag.
They've done. I mean, when you look at these records, right? There's a bunch of collections.
Okay.
It seems like it was very, I don't know, disjointed how the band like put music out there. Like, for example, their song, one of their hits, Instant Breakfast, is on like 5 of these records. It's like on every one of the records. I'm not sure why they just kept putting it on every record.
It's a great song.
It's a good song.
Let's use it again.
Yeah, for WAYLT Kingdom, I mean, they do Blue Oyster Cult, Hot Rails to Hell, which is like insane.
Good cover, though. It's a good cover.
And the Saints, Demolition Girl, which they also just like completely.
Well, I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit this. I didn't know when we got like Sgt. Pepper's. I didn't know that was a Saints cover. And then when I heard the Saints version, I was like, why are they covering White Flag?
Yeah. I guess one of the reasons that I should say the documentary is on YouTube for like $2 or something. It's not free, but it's like for $2. And some of the shit, I mean, again, being a fan of the band, I knew certain things, but like there's footage of them playing a Beatles convention and they're just doing Yoko Ono, just only Yoko Ono songs. And the crowd is fucking furious. Like straight up just throwing shit at them.
That is very funny, actually. It's for a band that does like a Beatles-esque
I can't remember her name. It's not they interviewed the woman from Frightwig, and then this another woman. It says she was in Love Dolls. I think one of those Dave Markey bands that were part of the movies, like Desperate Teenage Love Dolls. Maybe, I don't know, but anyway, she was singing for them, and she's just wailing Yoko Ono tracks while they're just like, oh, the crowd is so fucking angry. I mean, it's certainly worth $2. Literally just like 32 seconds of seeing them play that Beatles convention, and people are just fucking losing their minds mad. But there's like 100 other crazy things in this documentary. I was like, this dude lived a life just trolling everybody and just, I don't know, going insane. So it made me want to pull all of it, really. Yeah, because I was just like, damn, man, really crazy. So
that's a good pick. I'm going to pull out Sgt. Pepper's again at the weekend.
I don't have that one. That's one I don't have at all. So,
fun fact about me: my very first band was called Cross Laws. We were named after the first song on Third Strike.
Oh,
which is actually called Cross Dogs. I kind of misheard it and like thought it sounded cool. So
I do also have Third Strike here.
Yeah, I love that record.
Yeah, it's so good. I just, I mean, obviously, like, I love dumb hardcore. I love fast dumb hardcore. It's like my favorite thing in the world. But like for this band to kind of like slowly gravitate towards Cheap Trick Land, and there are obviously like a lot of bands I like, they're obsessed with Kiss too, but I fucking hate Kiss. So whenever I discuss White Flag, I always lean more into their Cheap Trick love and Blue Oyster Cult love and lean away from the Kiss stuff. But it's clear they also, I think there's a version of Strutter or something on one of these records, like, as well. But,
Flip Side. That just White Flag just reminded me of Flip Side, and just I never really understood. Like,
they do
just getting like maximum rock and roll, and then suddenly like getting Flip Side, and it's like just being. I just totally could not understand like Los Angeles and Flip Side and what's going on with these interviews. I don't really. It's in English, but I don't really understand like, what's going on. Like,
without derailing too hard, I mean, White Flag does the Flip Side theme song.
Oh, there you go.
The song Flip Side, written by White Flag for the magazine. So there's that song. But like, just quickly, like, I would get Flip Sides in like the early 90s, and it would literally be like 20 bands being interviewed on the cover, and it would be like Helmet, L7, Crossed Out, All, Hard-Ons, and then like Chokebore, and you're just like, there's like those magazines are a wealth of like very weird, interesting shit. I mean, if MRR was a little narrow, like Flipside just threw that fucking net as far as it could go almost. Right. And there's just crazy stuff in it.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, you got to follow White Flag.
I have been wanting to watch that documentary. It does look cool. I've heard White Flag since I was in high school, but maybe I'll have to pull up some of the older stuff because I only heard later stuff for sure. All right, we're doing another reissue for the second record. 30-year anniversary reissue for East River Pipes Mel Merge Records. Yes, on the old Merge. Sorry, I'll keep it up here. East River Pipe is just one dude. This guy Fred Cornog. He is like I guess like he had like a lot of substance abuse problems and was like homeless for quite a while. But he makes some of the best music I've ever heard. Tortured Soul, maybe. But yeah, a lot of the songs involve, his addiction and like self-destruction, and it's like kind of dark lyrics, but the music is like kind of upbeat and happy, it's almost like happy sounding, like a little bit of like Twin Peaks vibe mixed in there too, like synth, drum machine, guitar, bass, vocals. I would put him maybe on my right behind Bill Fox, number 2 favorite. But yeah, it's cool that they reissued this. I found out today that it was done for some like secretly Canadian mail order club, and Merge only had 100 copies for mail order, so somehow lucked into getting one of those from my wonderful wife. Got it for me for my birthday. So
yeah, I saw someone else say that was reissued, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I didn't never.
Yeah, it had the first press, and then it was never reissued after that. But yeah, it kind of sucks that they only did like 100 for regular mail order, because I feel like more than 100 people probably want it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's number two. Also, I'm pretty sure he's never played a live show, I think is the lore of that also.
Wow.
Is there a relationship between East River Pipe and just Pipe?
No. It's
okay.
Yeah, two different. I think Pipe is a North Carolina band. I think.
Okay. I thought Pipe was related to East River Pipe somehow, but I don't really know about East River Pipe. So
yeah,
I've actually never heard them, but the name is
me neither.
Unique that it's, you know.
Yeah, he says there's something in an interview that I'm gonna butcher it, trying to remember it off the top of my head, but like he named it after like just seeing this pipe spewing sewage into the East River from like his apartment once he got a house, and he was like, "Oh, it's kind of like me, like I'm the pipe, the sewage is my music, and the world is the river, and I'm just like spewing my garbage out into the world." Yeah, I don't know. I fucking love that dude. He's like pretty reclusive, another mystery guy. He does a bunch of interviews, so like you can read a lot of stuff about him, and like kind of get a sense that like he has zero interest in the music industry and just wants to make his music. And at one point, just wanted to like make music and take drugs and drink, and now it's just make music. And I think he like maybe still works at Home Depot. I don't know. I know he's working at Home Depot in some of the interviews that I read with him.
That was a great quote there. Heavy stuff, man. Yeah. Okay, I must apologize. I have another mystery Japanese record, and this one is even a mystery to me. So bear with me when I try my best to sell this one to you. Not that you're going to be able to buy it, but if you were able to buy it, you would buy it from me, because I'm going to try and sell it to you. I found this in the store, Disc Union. I just saw it there, and I was like, man, obviously Japanese record looks pretty cool. A couple of $1,000 yen. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a try. And I did, and I was pretty satisfied with my purchase. Came out last year, self-released, like DIY punk record. The name of the band is Fewww with three W's. Bear with me. This is, as I'm talking, this is also a mystery to me. So we're sort of unlocking the mystery together about this band. The name of the record is called Not Black Album. And the reason it's called that, they say, there's a little typed, like a hand typed flyer inside the record which says this in Japanese, is like, it may look black, but it isn't. Like, what language I was saying. As I'm showing this, actually, it doesn't look black at all to me from like what the angle that I'm at now. But when you look at it normally, it does look black. Now it doesn't look black, but it is. But it isn't. Well, apparently, they say this. It's like hundreds of like layers that aren't black put on top of each other to make it look black, but it's not. It's like an oil painting.
Like a Rothko kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And that's the back, which also kind of looks like an oil painting, I guess. But yeah, not a black album. But it doesn't. It says it in Japanese. But the thing you look at, it says there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but who cares? Which I kind of like. I like that as an album title too. But it's just kind of written on there. Okay, so like I said, no idea who this band is. Never heard of them before. I did a little bit of the Googles. A few things came up. They're an active band, obviously. I've decided to try and describe this record by using genres that will mean nothing to almost everybody, but everything to a couple of people. So I'm proceeding with that angle with this. So like, I was like, it's kind of a little bit Jesse Core, if anyone is familiar with.
Yeah.
Yes, kind of. Like, you know, it's like just that not very good. like you know, curtain rail. I know, like just Japanese like Y2K. But actually,
I'm a big proponent of Jesse Core.
Exactly.
I'm
not knocking
acolyte. It. I'm an acolyte of Jesse Core.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying. but I soon discovered that, in fact, actually, this is more like Pence Core than Jesse Core, which made that genre like might not exist. But it's like, I know, man. It's like super. It's one of those bands that's like you're listening to it and they kind of sound like kind of loose and ramshackle, and it's kind of a trebly recording. Super short songs, but then you're like, fuck, this band's like a super tight band, actually. But the way it comes across is like a very loose, and it's like it does have a little bit of that snuffy smile. It's melodic. It's melodic hardcore, played in a kind of ramshackle way, but it actually kind of very tight. And I did when I was listening to this, I was like, I can just imagine this piping out of Celebrated Summer Records. I honestly, that's what I thought, because it's like super melodic. It's almost towel core. There's another one for you. Tony Pence, what's towel core? Like,
actually, that's what I don't know. I mean, obviously Jesse Core, Jesse.
Yes.
Pence Core, yeah, me, yeah. So,
yes. But you know, it's like made by young people.
So sorry. Now I know. Yeah, towel core would be Pizza of Death adjacent.
Yes.
Because all of the bands sell towels.
Yes.
As merch.
Yes.
So like Razor's Edge, especially, but also Barbecue Chicken's like style.
Yes.
So you're reeling me in.
Right. I'm telling you, right. This band, I think this band might sound a little bit like Barbecue Chickens. It's maybe, I don't know. I can't remember what the Barbecue Chickens sound like, but it's like really fun record, like DIY, and also great like lyrics. Punk is my way of life. Racist, like no war. And another one which is a bit ambiguous. It says boycott Spotify. There's like a question mark and an exclamation mark, so I'm not sure what the stance is on that. But yeah, and so I couldn't get any information from the internet, and so I looked again at that little like typed out like insert they have, and this is great. Like, this is so good. Okay, this is what they wrote or typed on the insert. It says, this is a collection of songs of resistance, and it says, please file this record next to your Clash, Stiff Little Fingers, Peter Tosh, Eastern Youth, Japanese emo band, Specials, Exclaim, and Hard Skin Records. So I was like, I said, first of all, you guys are not filing your record. How can I file this next to all of those things? But the sentiment is right on the money.
Man, where are they from in Japan?
They're from Tokyo, I think. And I tracked down the Instagram, like all of the bands they played with, I never heard of.
Well, I have to say this, that I don't know, because of my insane shoulder pain has kept me from getting to Japan for the last like year and a half. But the record sounds amazing, but it sounds like I might want to hang out with them. Sounds like I might want to actually find them.
I mean, just all those choices are amazing. It's like, but how do you put this record next to all of those? It's like,
you don't have a resistance section?
Right. I have records that look black but aren't actually black section.
And
I know, it's super fun record, like catchy, melodic, and 24 songs. Every song's super short. Lots of like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
like go kind of stuff. Really exciting to find a band that I've never heard of, and I've been having a lot of fun. So it's on Bandcamp. You can listen to it on Bandcamp.
I'm gonna definitely try to track that down to own that. That sounds like.
And please do pipe it out of the store and take a video of you piping it out.
Never Venn diagram of me, Jesse, and perhaps Pizza of Death Core. You know what I mean?
A little bit of pizza, a little bit of Jesse, a little bit of Pence. That's what you get.
That sounds great.
It's fun record, and thought it'd be fun to talk about, even though no one knows what the hell I'm talking about.
I'm really excited. I'm super excited, so I'm gonna find it.
There you go. I prefer like that though, the title, There's No Light at the End of the Tunnel, but who cares? I think that's a better title than not the Black Album. But you know, that's what they went with. All right, Daniel.
Cool. Yeah. I gotta say, just a quick digression. When I went to Japan and I saw everyone carrying around little towels, it was like mind blown.
Well,
because like it's so humid in the South. Why don't I always have a little towel with me? It would be so nice.
If you have got the eyes of an eagle, you'll see behind me I have a towel stretched upon, which is the Cro-Magnons. I went to see it.
Oh, and you just got that.
That's their merch towel for this store.
And there's is that a revenge towel too?
Yes, many towels behind me actually. And there's even a tea towel from Wrong Speed Records. I am towel core.
I have to say, every time I've gone to a towel core show, I've bought. I have like 3 Razor's Edge towels, and I think when Declone came to America, I bought a towel from them here, and I'm like, I have them, and they're just folded in my closet. But I'm like, why don't I take one when I play a show? And like, you know what I mean? You just be like, you're sweating and shit. You want to do this, but then have it be like,
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I'm like, I should probably do that. So, all right, this combo is gonna make me pull my.
Stop making the tote bags. Make some towels. All right.
Cool. All right.
Next towel. Sorry, next pick. Sorry.
Next pick. Not a towel. So this is a record. You know, one of the nice things about like owning a record store is that like you see records all the time, and you're like, sometimes you're like, I'll check that out. And like this record came in with a collection, and I was just like, oh, didn't know that existed. What does that sound like?
Ooh.
It is the second Deviated Instinct album, Guttural Breath. So I had no idea. Like I was familiar with the first Deviated Instinct album and their demos, and like honestly, like they're kind of not my thing, really. But I put this on this album, and I was like the guy on the cover of the Heresy LP. Just like, whoa. I remember like my wife came home, and I'd gotten home from or I was playing this on like the stereo at home, and I kept just turning it up louder and louder and louder, and it was just like deafening when she walked in, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing? But like so like
jamming out to Guttural Breath.
Yeah. So yeah, like they're a 3-piece on this, and they just like, to me this record doesn't sound like what I think of Deviated Instinct sounding like at all.
Oh, really?
It sounds like COC Animosity to me. It's total like power trio style. Like it's really heavy, but like I just love when like 3-piece bands like develop that like ESP kind of thing where they like stretch out beats and just sort of like really, really lock in together. And you get a lot of that on this, like kind of like blast, Black Flag type, like lunging rhythms and stuff. And it's like that combined with like just, you know, heavy UK crust.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's so good. And I don't know, I've never heard anybody mention this album or rep it.
Really? I think that's sort of considered to be their sort of classic. That, you know, just an English person. It's a big difference from like Rock and Roll Conformity. A huge like change in style.
I actually went back and listened to that, and I was like, nope, it's not for me. Like, and it just doesn't sound anything like this.
No.
Yeah,
I think, isn't that like considered like the archetypal, like, you know, stenchcore record or something? I don't know, but like,
I mean, it should be, but I feel like I don't like hear it mentioned in the same breath as like, you know, Amebix or whatever, or
the same Guttural Breath.
Yeah, maybe I was just sleeping on it, and maybe people talk about it all the time, and I just sort of didn't know this.
There's a couple of others around that era too. Nails, maybe. Like,
those are Deviated Instinct records.
Yes, yeah. That's not the only one in that style, as far as I remember.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
help me out in the comments if I'm wrong. That's what I'm thinking right now. But
yeah. So I got some exploring to do
Oh.
because like, man, I just like stuck on that record.
Really, that's it.
Every time I listen to it, I just blast it. It's just so heavy and like groovy, man. I love it.
Wow, that's a great pick. Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of Rock and Roll Conformity. It's such a weird record. It's supposed to be crusty, but it really isn't. It's like a kind of weird, like hardcore record. It's a bit undercooked, a bit long, but I know it's a kind of fascinating record as well in its own right. Yeah. But,
yeah. I'm maybe it's something that I'll sort of like get at some point, but it just, you know, I never connected with it before, you know.
Right. Nice. Those guys kind of got really into like industrial hardcore. And there's that band Optimum Wound Profile, which is like members of Deviated Instinct and Extreme Noise Terror. They have 3 albums. It's like Extreme Noise Terror and Deviated Instinct meets Ministry kind of stuff.
This is a drum machine then?
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Because one of the things I really like about this though is that like rhythmically it sounds so human. Like I could see how it's like how it's not a far step from that to industrial music, but like it's so like organic sounding.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some other bands they did as well, like afterwards, like I'm forgetting the names right now, but like they really went into like the industrial, but they call it incrustrial, right? That's what they call it. It's a whole like subgenre. There's a bunch of bands like that Ex Nausea band. Didn't that Ex Nausea band and the Deviated Instinct guys like Christ Bait? I'm just like trying to dig into the memory banks right now, but yeah, there's an Ex Nausea band that also kind of did like industrial, incrustrial stuff as well. So let us know in the comments what I'm talking about, because I'm kind of have no idea, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct with this.
Yeah, that's like a world that I really just don't know at all, you know.
Why would you? It's like right.
Yeah, I've always been kind of like anti-metal, but then when I hear metal stuff that I connect with, it gets hard, you know, and that's where I'm at with that.
Really? Deviated Instinct did a split with Grave? Really? Wow. Wow. Didn't know that. All right. That's a great pick. Tony, what's your next pick?
All right. Well, like Daniel was saying, like cool thing about owning a record store is that random records that you've never heard of come through. I had a pile of singles where they just looked cool, and I took them home, and it's just been sitting here for maybe 2 years. And like maybe I just kind of rifle through sometimes and pull one out and just go, well, I'm going to see what this one sounds like. And, you know, hits and misses between that kind of thing. But I got a real like kind of hair up my ass, and I was like, I'm tired of this pile being here. I'm just going to like hammer through it. And, like stuff I don't like, I'll take back to the store, and I'll, you know, keep some stuff that I do like. And, you know, it was, again, hits and misses, but this band was in there. And kind of like also like you finding that other band and having like not really any information about them on the internet. This band is called Sneakers. Looks like this. And the artwork's really cool looking. I kind of look, I mean, at least something that I was like, I want to know what this sounds like. This shot or whatever. And the record is Nohe Asion. Asion, is that how you would say that? I don't know. I think they're from Madrid. The record came out in 1991. And what I was able to find from Discogs is this is the only record they ever did. It didn't seem like anybody went on to be in any other bands, and there's really almost no mention of them anywhere about anything. But this record totally rips. It's like really like on the rawer side of power pop. I mean, here's the thing. Like the first track could definitely be borderline power pop, pop punk, except the production is really kind of scrappy, which puts it more into my category, right? So it's like the punker end of power pop, pop punk, I guess, or whatever. That's pops. And that song, it just rules. It makes me want to listen to it like 15 times in a row. And then immediately after it, they do a version of Bo Diddley's Pills, like totally trashed out, like more garage rock than the power pop. And then the flip has 2 more kind of like really catchy kind of power pop songs, but or punky power pop songs. But yeah, I kind of wanted to choose this one because one, I mean, just talking about finding these random singles and piles where never heard of the band, they never went on to do anything else. I don't know who any of the members are. Like, you know what I mean? It's like almost like a dead end. There isn't very much to talk about.
Right.
So picking up here, I'm like, well, maybe somebody else has the single. Maybe somebody knows something. I don't know. But it seems like the type of thing that would be in a dollar bin or 100 yen bin for sure somewhere in Japan. Like,
right. It does have that feel to it.
Like, yeah, 100% somewhere in the 100 yen bin in Japan. But probably even maybe somewhere in the U.S. It says Subterfuge Records put it out, and they're also a label based out of Madrid. But
okay,
no info, just a killer kind of like poppy, raw, power poppy, rock and roll 45 that like seems like time completely forgot it. Never heard a person mention it, never seen a picture of it, except the picture that's on Discogs, I guess. Once I tried to find any information about it, somebody did have one up. But yeah, that's it. So if you see it in a dollar bin or a 100 yen bin, it's seriously worth a listen. I think it's on YouTube.
Okay.
You can definitely listen to it on YouTube. But
Yeah,
it has 0 listens.
All right. Jeff.
This one I got in the mail, 3 days ago, maybe? Legends.
Oh,
I've not listened yet.
That band rips, man. Like,
it's like they're all in such awesome bands, and then all the records just rip. Part of me was like, "Oh, this one's faster than the last one," and then I was like, "No, it's not to sound like rude. It's the same thing over and over. It's awesome, you know." But yeah, I was psyched. I saw this popped up on Desolate Records Instagram, I saw it on his Instagram, and then immediately ordered it, and no regrets. I'm sure you guys probably have it in the stores or coming to the stores.
For sure.
That's the new album, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. I don't know how to say the title, so there you go.
Swedish people in the comments.
Lyric on the back cover, no inserts. That always kind of makes me mad, but saves paper, I guess.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm quite picky when it comes to this kind of stuff. But when I first heard that band, I immediately set about like trying to track down like all of their like older records. I don't know. I think they have a certain something about them that just kind of they just rip. That's all I can really say about them.
Yeah. It's like all those bands come together and make another band. And it's like, all right, sick. Like,
yeah, I would like to say that I'm picky about that kind of stuff, but like there's just so many bands that are like really, really fucking good at it. Like it's like Discrad and like Verdict, and like it's just like when that sort of crew of people start a band, they just know what they're doing.
Yeah, I just noticed that Explorator have a new album coming out too, right? I realized I didn't have the first one, and as soon as I thought that, it came up on Disc Union, so I went and ordered that, and I ordered the new one as well at the same time. So
yeah, like a month ago, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
The Explorator album, is it already out?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we're a little bit behind here. I'm not going to get it until like end of March or something, but yeah.
I feel like I'm always with those bands being like, oh man, another like the Night Feeder Verdict split I've been like stuck on lately, and I like in my head I'm like, are Verdict that good? And then I put on that record, I'm like, god damn, Verdict is so good. Shit.
I want to get that. I need to get that record.
Ooh, it's a beast.
There you go. Any Crow fans in the house or watching? I am, but only a kind of a certain era. I think like the early stuff I can like take or leave. I mean, Bloody Tear era is like untouchable to me, and the 12-inch that came out around the same time as well. And there's probably some singles as well, but
Flock of Beast.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, he's an interesting character. You know, like he doesn't really play by the rule book. He does a lot of stuff, a lot of different kinds of stuff, and kind of does what he wants. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the side projects that he's done. A lot of people are. I mean, the Grave New World album, I'm not too keen on. Death Comes Along.
I really like their second album.
Okay, yeah, okay. And then Apocalypse, which is basically Crow but under another name. That's like stuff they recorded when they were still living and all that kind of stuff. But there's one of Crow, the man's like side projects or bands that I fucking absolutely love. And I thought someone had already talked about this record before, but apparently they haven't. So that's what I'm going to do now. Talking about this beast of a record that came out on HG Fact in 2010. Kaibo Shitsu.
Yeah.
Classic Crow artwork. I've said this recently a couple of times, actually. I'm kind of getting like a tinge of like sadness now when I'm pulling out these records, because it's not that old, right? It's like 2010, it's 15 years ago, but it seems like it comes from a time that's gone. Like it's not gonna happen. I don't know why I'm getting this feeling. It's kind of not nostalgia, but it's just like, obviously HG Factor label, has gone. We know that, but maybe just the people in these bands have gotten to the age now when they're not good. There's not that much more music left in them and that kind of thing. But anyway, I mean, this is like Crow's like love letter to the Starlings Wishy.
Yeah.
But because it's like these guys, it's kind of like done in a kind of it's kind of done in a Crow. It's like Crow covering the Starling is basically kind of what it kind of comes down to, but it's so fucking dark and heavy and twisted and evil. The name of the record's Evil. It's like it's an autopsy suite or dissecting room, however you want to translate it, in Evil. But man, the single's good too. The 7-inch is great too, but you've got like this 16-17 minute long dirge on the B-side, which is hypnotic and twisted, and then like that kind of 2-minute blast at the end. Everything's kind of a little bit taken from Mushy, the way the album flows and everything. It's a work of genius. I urge anyone who likes Crow and the Starling to kind of check this out, because it's kind of, I'm going to say, modern day classic. I really love this record. I played like 3 times in a row last night. It's one of those records. It's like obviously taking from very obvious things, but it's the result is like very unique. There's even like a little bit of gas tank in there, like a little bit of that kind of dramatic metal in there, like a little bit as well, which I love. So I'm totally on board with that. But classic, and the best like Crow like side project for me that he's ever done. It's got people from like Last Bombs in the band too, which is cool. I think maybe a member of like Raise Cain is in this band as well. That band Raise Cain is in this band, which is but yeah. Classic. That's it.
I love those Last Bombs records.
Yes. This one.
Daniel, did you see Crow when they played the United States, right?
I didn't see them. They played Chaos and Chaos. I know. I don't know how much they toured.
I did not see them in the U.S., but I saw them at Earth Dome in Tokyo, and maybe 15 years ago, or I don't know, at some point when they were playing again. And I was just like, I had never seen them, and I was like, "Oh, I'm scared of this dude." It was a real wild set, and he looked fucking cool and crazy.
He's like a legitimate like outsider. I want to say he doesn't fit into any of the stereotypes or whatever of the Japanese hardcore scene. He's really a visionary. He's done all these like different things, all these different musical influences. I think he's an interesting character.
I was scared, like legitimately scared watching them. Every time there was like a girl, Earth Dome's pretty small or whatever. There was this woman up front taking photos of him, with like a digital camera. And every time she went to take a picture, he would kind of like do this thing where he would get down like close to the camera and go, bare his teeth at the photo well,
you call them teeth, but they're not really teeth.
It was horrifying, and I was just like, holy shit, man. And sometime, like we were talking about with like, oh, you know what? It wasn't. You know what? I confused it. I just remembered. Crude played in Celebrated Summer.
Okay.
Slang did not. I'm sorry. It was Crude.
Okay.
Crude played. Just one word. Crude played in Star, not Slang. Sorry, I must have seen them.
That just suddenly popped into your mind. That's
Sorry, just my mind. I don't know why. But because I remember thinking, I was just like, oh, I should take some pictures, and I was like, I'm actually scared. Like I'm not gonna pull my camera out, and take a picture of this dude. But then many years later, just 2 years ago, I walked into base, and he was there, picking up copies of the newest release. Like I had spoken to Ken at Prank before I left for my tour, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to send some records to Crow, like the whatever more recent thing that he had put out." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I literally walk in, and Ken's package had shown up, and the dude was there, like getting them. So then I took a quick picture with him, like posed out, sent it to Ken. I was just like, "Oh yeah, man! Like I was here to see your record safely delivered directly in the hands of the man."
Always like Patrick from Destruct always calls him Mr. Crow.
I think I did as well. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's a thing, and I'm
because it's just a way of differentiating between the band and the person, right? So it's like
Mr. Crow. He seemed much. He seemed much
Crow.
Looking splendid this evening. Your teeth are magnificent.
He seemed much more chill that time than when I'd seen him actually performing. I was like legitimately scared, and I was like, "That's cool. I'm actually glad that I'm scared to take a picture."
This record too is like kind of unsettling, man. It does have a certain atmosphere to it.
Yeah. I feel like I really distinctly remember, like I mentioned, the trip where I stayed in London and bought that guitar. It's also when that record came out.
Okay.
And I remember I went to All Ages in Camden, and they recommended it to me. And I never heard anyone else talk about it ever. Like it seemed to like make no impact in my friend group. So for years, it's like a record I would pull out and be like,
right.
Did you know about like Crow's homage to like 80s Japanese hardcore? And it always blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Kaibo Shitsu and Yokoshima is the name of the record. It's all written in kanji, but that's what it's called and that's the title. But they only made 700 copies, all on red vinyl. I don't remember if there's a CD. I think there's not a CD version either. I don't think it's just 700 red vinyl. That's it. There you go.
Daniel, when I was in All Ages Records in Camden, the one time I was there, Deep Sleep was on tour, and we went there, and that dude dressed us down for having a 14-minute LP as opposed to, he's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, this shit's like, it's like, you should have made this a 10-inch, like, and it would have been cheaper. Like, this is like years and years ago. He like straight up dressed us down for having like a 14-minute, 12-inch like LP, and I was just like,
why would he care about that? What's it got to do with him?
It was the price. He seemed concerned about the price. Like it was like
okay.
Could have fit on a smaller.
Did he calculate like how much each second cost?
I do remember I had to like hand deliver a bunch of records to them, and I think they were sort of like, I don't want to say like penny pinchers, but they were very conscious about cost.
It was fine. I just told him, I was just like, I fucking hate 10 inches, which is a true statement. Like, I can't stand them. So, I mean, I have some, but like, I don't like them. I would rather it be an 8-minute record than a fucking 10-inch. You know what I mean? Like, so.
They're kind of wasteful too, though, because they're just 12 inches cut down,
Right. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, what's your next pick?
Wow, next pick. So, this next one, this is probably like my favorite. I mentioned it last week in the Sorry State newsletter. I was writing all about like my used record scores of 2025. Oh, and this is like, it's my favorite new to me old music that I discovered last year, and that is this Greek band called Stress.
Oh.
Anybody know this one?
I don't know that one.
I was not super familiar. I don't know, from the 80s. I don't know what year it came out, but man, it's killer. I always associated, I guess, Greek. There's a lot of like Greek crust, kind of like in the 90s and 2000s, and that's kind of like what I associated Greek punk with. And this is not like that at all. It's like, it kind of has like a thin guitar sound, but it's very fast and very like song oriented. And so it kind of reminds me of like 80s Spanish punk, like what was I just going to compare it to?
Escorbuto?
No, not Escorbuto. My brain is too fried.
I'll come back to you in about an hour.
Exactly. I'll blurt it out in the middle of somebody else talking about something else. But yeah, not crusty, just like fast, super hooky, like minimal sounding, great production.
Subterranean Kids?
No.
Okay.
God damn it. My brain keeps wanting to say La Banda Chapera del Rio, but like they don't sound like rock and roll as much as that. But it does have that sort of like minimal, fast kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of a hard record to get. It's been reissued a couple of times. I think the very first pressing like is like a super rare record that people pay a lot of money for. But however you can find this, like it to me is like it's super cool. It's just like right up my alley for what 80s punk should be, you know. I think what reminds me of the Spanish stuff is that like you kind of hear the Clash in the background of it a little bit, like that sort of like anthemicness to it, you know, but it's way more like scrappier and sort of hardcore. And then I also pulled out, they're also on this compilation that's like really cool. This is, I think there's 4 bands on this. This is like an 80s Greek punk comp. I have no idea. I can't read Greek at all, but that's the title there. But some of the other bands on this are kind of more like post-punky, and Stress is kind of like La Broma de Satan. That's a good comparison.
Is that the one you're thinking of? Or was that no?
It's not the one I was thinking of. But it's like I want to go flip ththrough my records and like try and remember. But yeah, this is another like really good 80s Greek punk record. It's got a bunch of Stress songs on it and like other cool bands. And yeah, it's just like a scene that I've kind of like was not on my radar. We stayed with this guy Marku in Finland on Scarecrow tour, and he was just like, "Oh, do you know any of this Greek shit?" And I like took a bunch of pictures with my phone and like spent the next 2 years trying to find it all on Discogs. And like every time I get one, like I haven't heard it since that night, and I'm like, "Oh, it's even better than I remember." So
I'm the same. I really only know like the like you said, like the heavy crust from Greece. That's pretty much stuff I'm familiar with, really. Yeah. Right. Tony, what's your
right? Something that seems to have gone the way of the dodo. Well, not completely, but you just don't see as much of this type of stuff. Geographically based compilations, where it's just like a city. I don't see as much of these. Maybe there's more of these out there than I think, but not a lot of them. Anyway, this one just came out, and it's called Future Left Behind. It is awesome. My neighbors, Washington, D.C. compilation. And so Baltimore and D.C. are so close that a lot of these bands play there, or we'll go to D.C. and see some of these bands. But like absolutely just like destroying hardcore comp. And a lot of bands, I mean, it's all hardcore, but there's enough variation between these bands that it's interesting, but it's not so wildly different that you couldn't just throw it on. You wouldn't want to like necessarily skip tracks, so it's pretty great. It starts off with Brain Tourniquet, like just pure power violence, which is like, right at my heart. I love it. No frills, crossed out style power violence, which I absolutely love. And some other great bands on here. This band Expiration Date I don't know if they're from DC proper or from like maybe somewhere in Maryland, but like kind of close. I don't know. They, you know, I'm not personally a fan of like what the kids call the scrams, you know, the kind of like
What?
you know, the 90s. This is like
What?
like new genres of music. The scrams are like the screamo, like Orchid, or like that kind of like Jerome's Dream, kind of screamy 90s hardcore. I did not like it in the 90s when I was forced to see those bands. I was not a fan. Like just sitting there watching Orchid with like a frown on my face, just like, fuck, why am I here? Why am I seeing this? I'm fucking angry. You know what I mean? So I don't love it, but this style has kind of come back to some extent. Like kids now love all these old bands, and Expiration Date doesn't even necessarily sound like Orchid or Jerome's Dream. It kind of sounds like Frail. It's kind of more like, I guess it kind of sounds more like Frail to me. So it's like, yeah, it's just like slightly more screaming lo-fi hardcore, but their 7-inch that came out is in a manila envelope, and then it has twine. It's like tied with twine, so that might place it, you know, the parts are that like kind of 90s. There's no leaf glued to it, but like, you know, there could be, you know? You know, like there's certainly, you know, if I was there, I would have said, "Hey, why don't you glue a leaf onto this?" You know. But anyway, the record rules.
I feel like super old right now. But carry on.
The Expiration Date record rules. Their song on this is great, and it's probably the one song that's like, you know, appreciably different than like a lot of the other ones that are a little more heavy and like pure hardcore. It's a little different, but anyway. Yeah, so Second Street Records put this out, and they just cold called me and asked if I wanted to carry it, and I was like, absolutely I do, and I was not disappointed at all. It's just like a great, you know, awesome new, you know, geographically minded compilation. I think there should be more of these types of things happening from various cities, but yeah, it's cool. And Laughing Corpse on this as well, so yeah, awesome. Yep. So yeah, just a great comp. I really like it. So.
Isn't that band Pray to Be Saved on there too?
I think so. Yep, they start off side 2, and yeah, and
I really like it.
I should have checked Protesters on this, which was like a DC straight edge band that I think had members of Red Death, and like this is another thing. This is no shit talk because there's so many good bands and people in DC, but I often sometimes, because Baltimore doesn't have a lot of these types of bands, and I get a little jealous. I go like, damn, where are the people doing these types of bands in Baltimore? You know, but these DC bands often, when I find out or I inquire a little bit about them, it's like the same 4 people, but it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's a compliment. Like when you've just got 4 like-minded people and they're just like, we're just going to make a scene. Like we're just going to start like fucking 6 bands that are all going to be good. And like, DC's good at that, man, where it's just like, you know, a sick drummer is just like, he's playing drums in 4 bands, you know, and like the guy that's writing the riffs is like, okay, this is this band, this is this one. And then their scene just grows from that. And it's fucking awesome, you know.
What's funny, like you're talking about DC, but like the common link between Protester, Connor, Raleigh, you know?
Oh,
he moved to DC like, you know, 10 or 15 years ago, but I like to claim him and his projects because they're so good.
I often like to claim, because I do get a little jealous about the, you know, the attention that DC gets, like especially back in the day. I often, it's crazy I didn't say it, you know, but I'm fond of always saying Void is from Maryland. They're from fucking Maryland, just because they're on Discord. You know what I mean? Like Void is ours. You know
I get that way about Richmond and Raleigh, because like a lot of my, you know, Richmond gets like tons of attention, I think, but like, you know, like Direct Control, it's like they're from North Carolina. Public Acid, like that band started in North Carolina and moved to Richmond. It's like a lot of times like the coolest shit coming out of Richmond is like North Carolina transplants. You know? Yeah. It's I mean Baltimore is always in the shadow of the cities that are kind of surrounding it.
I always get a little, not seriously, but just a little jealous about that type of thing. And, bands that might be in Columbia, Maryland, or like they're technically Maryland bands, I think it's easier for them, like, to just go, oh, we're a DC band, like just to claim DC, and then Baltimore just gets the short end of the stick,
At least you've got Stout.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the more pure hardcore scene, right? That's probably a convo for another time.
Yes, let's move on. I'm sorry to bring that up.
Baltimore's produced a ton of like awesome bands that are playing in a style that is very Baltimore, but like the style I like, more pure power violence or like necros, US hardcore style. That does not. Nobody in this town wants to play that style of music. I sit here every day at the record store and just go, who plays guitar? Who plays drums? Like, just every day, I'm like, start a band with me. Start 5 bands with me. Like, but like everybody that wants to play that style lives in another city. And Baltimore is more like represented by Stout, Next Step Up, or like these types of bands. Yeah. And now, Turnstile and things like that or whatever. So the proper style that I might like the most is the least represented in this town.
All right, Jeff, what's your fourth pick?
This is a record that I've been listening to a bunch online, and finally last weekend bought it up at Princeton Record Exchange. Good Flying Birds.
Look at that.
I just heard them this week. Yeah.
Oh, wow. There you go.
It's really good. I don't know a ton about this band besides they seem very young and from Indianapolis, which I feel like I haven't heard of bands from Indianapolis in quite a while. But it's good. It's got kind of a, like, in my mind, it sounds like the like Australian bands from like the 2010s, like Dick Diver, the Stroppies, like Melbourne bands, and like which those bands were trying to kind of sound like New Zealand bands and like Flying Nun stuff. I think that's safe to say. But yeah, I don't know what these guys think their influences are, but to me, that's what it sounds like. It's on Smoking Room and Car Park Records, which I don't know anything about Car Park Records, but Smoking Room is pretty sick. So definitely give it a shot if you like melodic, poppy, indie punk music.
I heard him played on a podcast this week, and they were comparing it to kind of like C86 kind of stuff.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And the song they played, I was like, oh, I need to check this record out. The song was really good.
Yeah, it kind of goes all over the place. It's kind of like different vibes, ebbs and flows through the record, and some of it's like, I think Jim Shomo was telling me that a few of them play in like different hardcore bands in Indianapolis. I feel like you can kind of hear that in this record somehow.
There's nothing I like more than C86 played fast by people that also like hardcore. That's like my favorite thing. So yeah. So that Chords record was great, Mike, that you recommended.
The Chords, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I really like that. So yeah.
That was like literally the last pick of like 2025 on the show. It was like the last record to be shown, and what a way to go out. Like I immediately tracked that one down. That's amazing. Yeah.
I ordered those right away, and I'm going to order this one too. What label put that out again? You say Car Park?
Yeah, Car Park and Smoking Room.
Okay. Car Park, I think, is back to I put out some records by Dan Deacon, which is like a Baltimore guy.
Oh yes.
I think stuff's distributed through Red Eye. But yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to try to track that one down.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah, I was checking out at Princeton at the Record Exchange, and I looked over and they had the CD on the rack, and I was like, oh, maybe they have the LP, and then quick ran around the corner and found it. And yeah, I'm glad that I did. It's a great record. Very good.
Nice. All right, last round. Talking about like hometown pride. Everyone knows that my hometown is Osaka. I'm gonna represent an Osaka band for my last pick. If I asked anybody here or in the chat to name an Osaka band, none of them would mention the band I'm going to show. But this band were a big deal in Osaka, and I saw them a couple of times. And every time I saw them, or at least one of the times I saw them, they played to about like 1,000+ people in this venue we had called Bayside Jenny. But the audience was predominantly made up of like younger boys, wearing like shorts and baseball caps and not looking anything like me. But they were amazing to see live. And honestly, when I'm thinking about it, one of the like funnest bands I've seen in Osaka like over the years. I don't know if anyone wants to take a guess. They also have like the best band name like ever. Let's just show the record. All right, it's Wrestling Crime Master.
Oh.
Wrestling Crime Master. Tag Rag Records, 1996. This record is such a snapshot of like what was going on in Osaka, because the past was really being left behind, and there was like this new school. This is like new school hardcore. It's moshy. You can like mosh to this record if you wanted to. It's like it's got that bounce, but it's also got like one like baggy short leg like in old school hardcore. Like it's not macho at all. It's just really like super fun record. Which like, man, I used to love going to see this band, and I think they broke up and they reformed. But you know, they have a single on HG Fact as well, 7-inch on HG Fact. They have a 7-inch on Heart First Records, like from Germany.
Oh wow!
So it's funny because Flo used to put out all these bands that like he did so much good work, but he would like put out these bands that like nobody cared about really in Europe and America, but were kind of big in Japan. It was a kind of funny like thing that was happening. Like Nuki Pikes, who are huge and got like signed to a major label and stuff like that. But yeah, I know, man. It's like moshable. It's just a super fun, like catchy record at the cusp of like Osaka, where things were like, there was so many like, it seemed like there's a lot of money going around in Osaka. Like at this point, we had like, you know, Tag Rag Records, which was a very eclectic label. We had this studio called Omega Sound. Like every record that was recorded at Omega Sound sounds fucking amazing. Like the Rise from the Dead records and all that kind of stuff was recorded at Omega Sound. We had this label called Specialized Fact. We had a skateboard store and clothing store called Satan Arbeit or Satan Arbeit. So everyone was dressing like very like swanky like skate gear. This band is very much of that era of like Osaka. But this is like such a fun like record with 1 foot in the old and like 1 foot in the new. I love it. There's a song called Big Town Calling, which Flo from Heart First rightfully decided to put that on the A side of their single, which like I think you haven't lived unless you've seen Big Town Calling being played in Osaka in front of like 1,000 boys in baseball. I know, man. It was just one of those memories of Osaka that I cherish. You know, it's like kind of like seeing Razor's Edge in Osaka or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
great band. And you remember I mentioned someone at the beginning of the show. Let's bring him back. So the thanks list is a treasure trove, like old school, like big thanks lists. Right, I'm not going to read all of it. I picked out some of the favorites from the thanks list. Gizm. I guess they got invited to play at one of Gizm's like shows in, you know, Tokyo, which is pretty cool. Sakebi must have been a fan of the Wrestling Crime Master. Slang. Makes sense. Corrupted. High Standard. The Cokehead Hipsters. Everyone loves the Cokehead Hipsters. Hardcore Dude. Laughing Nose. Aggressive Dogs. And then suddenly it goes from Aggressive Dogs to Warzone, Ignite, Sub-Zero, and you guessed it, Rick from Life to Life.
You know, I mean,
I said he'd be back. There he is. But
I don't know if you were. I mean, Rick would go to Japan. 25 to Life toured there somewhat steadily.
Wow.
And Rick's vibe at the time. I mean, I'm not saying anything, you know, out of school here. You know, nothing I wouldn't. Yeah, he would basically nothing that me and him have not discussed personally. He would go over there with like insane 25 to Life like basketball jerseys and stuff, and like 45s, and he would trade them for like insane rare Japanese hardcore records and bring them back.
Right,
I mean,
right.
he did a lot of, that kind of trading that he's known for. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
we had a run in with the wrestling crime master dudes.
He did a lot of that kind of stuff over there. So he would trade shirts and records with people all the time, and I presume, that's how.
Next time you're in Japan, you can. This is obviously, not obviously. This is the like a 500 yen, 1,000 yen. I love it, man. It's just a fun record. And the last thing I want to say about this record is, if you think that Wrestling Crime Master like is the best or worst like band name of all time, remember, they used to be called Wrestling of Talking Cocks. Was the original name.
What was the original name, Mike? You went out there for a second.
Yeah.
One more time. Wrestling of Talking Cocks was what this band. A couple of demos. I remember Flo, actually. I went to visit him in Berlin, and his flat. He's like, mate. He didn't say like that. So, mate, I've got like this demo from Japan. You want to hear it? I was like, yes. It's like, it's the Wrestling of Talking Cocks demo. Wrestling of Talking Cocks are like even more like straightforward, like US hardcore, but unfortunately, Wrestling of Talking Cocks, no records, but we've still got Wrestling Crime Master. That's my last pick. Osaka represents.
Nice.
If I find, I'll start buying copies of people and sending them around. Everyone needs to have this record in their collection, I think. All right, Daniel, follow Wrestling of Talking Cocks.
Man, how can you? I was actually earlier. I was thinking about moving this up in order when we were talking about Bill Bartell. Another shit stir. Definitely in that vein. This band's been on here, but not this record.
Okay.
This also, the singer in this band has my all-time favorite punk name. That is Frank Discussion from the Feeders. I don't sadly have the like really rare first pressing. This is the second pressing on Placebo. But I've just been like listening to this record a ton lately, and I just, it's so good. It's like 4 songs. They're all really different from one another. I don't know. There's just like musically a whole lot going on. I love the way it's produced. I love how, that sort of like shit stirness of Frank Discussion definitely like comes through the lyrics, and like, the lyrics to Jesus are pretty like, they're pretty shocking, even like in 2026 or whatever. And I've heard lots of stories about him, and like a lot of them are like over the line for me, of him like
that's
doing shit with like dead.
Yeah,
like it's not cool.
No,
it's not cool in principle, but like, I don't know. I just like have a soft spot for like these like agents of chaos. To me, it's such a part of punk, and I like can't help but love these kinds of people. When I was thinking about showing this, it popped into my head. I remember reading an interview with him, with Frank Discussion, like years and years ago, and he was talking about how his day job was that he was like a software tester for Microsoft, and his job was essentially to like use Microsoft software and try to like find bugs and break it. So he like found a way to like monetize his like his status as this like chaos agent and put it to work from Microsoft Microsoft get this like crazy high paying job. Who knew? I could take my like neuroses and turn them into cash that way. But yeah, it's just like, to me, it's like what punk's all about. It's like antagonizing, musically incredible. Like, I made a mixtape of like 7 inches that I don't listen to enough, and I bought this like Walkman, or actually my mom got it for me for Christmas, and I could plug it in the aux in my car, so I can listen to mixtapes in the car, and like every time this comes up on my my 7-inch mixtape. I just
Nice.
Cool.
I think that song is like, is it on? And I could be wrong here. Is it on the that compilation, the LP compilation that has? It's like side A is like Bad Brains and stuff, and side B is like Flipper.
Oh yeah, Let Them Eat Jelly Beans.
Jelly Beans, yeah.
Is it on
Yeah,
there?
it is.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
That's why I would have heard it first.
Sure.
Been like, whoa, this is like insane, and I love it. And then like going to Reptilian back in the day, famously, right? Their other record has the
Challenger.
Yeah.
It's got like the fucking no, sorry, not the
Sandpaper, right?
the sandpaper. Yeah, like right. Yep. Where you just like file
Mine
it,
stays me in a bag.
yeah, destroy the records. And I remember that in the late 90s when they reissued that, or when it came out on compact disc for the first time, the compact disc also had the sandpaper on it.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
like, really, really fun. I think my only real problem with them was the animal stuff. I think it would like, you know, harming animals is like the step too far that I couldn't hang with, but the song is really good. And then I don't know if this was disproven or proven, but I also remember, I shouldn't even laugh about this, but like that maybe he stole Jello Biafra's wife, right? Like Jello Biafra got married.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that story.
And then Frank Discussion was like down on his luck and needed a place to stay. And Biafra was like, oh yeah, man, of course, you can totally stay with me. And like completely absconded with his wife like soon after. Again, I don't know if that's a story from like, I remember hearing back in the 90s and being like, that sounds maybe believable. I'm not sure.
If there weren't psychos and assholes like that, though, like what would we talk about?
Yeah.
Like, would be so much more boring.
Yeah, definitely. Christ, man. Oh boy.
All right, Tony, what's your last pick?
Throwing the roadkill, right? That was them. They would throw roadkill at the shows.
Yeah.
That wasn't so much a problem, but wasn't there a story about putting like a mouse in a blender and like threatening to like turn it on at a show?
Was it just a threat?
That it happened?
I thought it actually happened, but
I don't know if it was like, I think he was like, if somebody doesn't come up here and stop me, I'm going to do it. And then unknown if somebody stopped him or not. You'd think that would be something that would be out there knowledge wise, but I don't know. So yeah, again, when you're a big personality like that, I guess, you know, the legend is going to be like out there, and who knows, what really occurred. So I don't know. Anyway, this band, my last pick is a slightly newer band.
Okay.
It turns out, and this just was one of those things. Sometimes at the store, this is like an unpopular thing, right? But sometimes at the store, I'm too busy to listen to records, and I just have to let fucking Spotify play. It's just the nature of being busy, right? And many times, if I'm listening to a record, it'll just start playing some bullshit after it that it thinks I want to hear. 9 times out of 10, I do not want to hear what it thinks that I want to hear based on what I'm listening to. But every once in a while, I hear a song that I like, and I check this song out, and this record came out in 2025. It looks like the members, somebody was in the chats, so it's an Australian band. Somebody was in the chats, and somebody maybe played in Chubby and the Gang, but I don't know who. This band is called Loose Lips, and the record is called Last Laugh. I guess it came out sometime in 2025. Ooh. And one of my most hated things, I talk a lot about what I hate. I hate when people cannot just use Google and see that there's
There was another band called Loose Lips, right? On TK.
Yeah.
There is another band called Loose Lips. And it's just like, it's in this case, 2025. You know, the only thing I hate more than people just doing it is that when they're confronted, they just go, well, I just don't care. That band's not a band anymore. And it's just like, ugh, God, come on, man. There's a fucking computer, you know what I mean? Like, don't name your band after something that's already happened. Yeah. That aside, this record is fucking awesome. It's also pretty, like, normally for this kind of, so this is like basically power poppy garage rock. I normally prefer this kind of music in the rip-off records vein, as I've brought on like a bunch of rip-off records, forgotten rip-off records in the past here. But this record is actually, oh, okay, nice. This record is pretty mid-paced, but super catchy. And so it's a little bit more like, maybe it has like more of a Hollywood Brats, New York Dolls.
Okay.
So it doesn't sound like the Exploding Hearts, but like, you know how the Exploding Hearts songs aren't fast, you know, they're definitely more in that kind of like mid-paced, I guess, range. And these songs are like that. None of these songs are fast, but they're really, the first time I listened to it, I was like, maybe this record is too slow for me. And then the second time I was like, nope, these songs are super fucking catchy. And these types of bands, sometimes the sleaze factor of like, sometimes the sleaze factor can be too much for me. I'm like, you know, there's something here that I don't like. The sleaze factor on this record is just right. It's like, you know,
how do you define what is so good?
I don't know. You just know. If you just have like a million newer bands that like want to kind of sweat the New York Dolls and Hollywood Brats and stuff, and whatever, you know, you can just tell when it's too far. You know? In this case,
I'm not into sleaze either. I'm a good boy.
No, I don't. Really but I do think that, especially if you're gonna play this type of like catchy rock and roll that comes from the Dolls world, and it's not going to be fast, right? You know, you can get away with zero sleaze if you're just playing like 4 times faster. But in this case, they're really, you know, again, playing in this like more middle speed. Some amount of sleaze is necessary to sell this, and they have the perfect amount of sleaze to make it happen. Like, and I don't just mean like, I don't know, not like song titles or anything. I just, you know,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Sheen of sleaze on music. That is
Sheen of Sleaze. That's a great band name.
It's just perfectly appropriate for this record. And yeah, it caught me off guard because, again, I don't normally like things that are in the slower range in this style.
Yeah, it's tough to do, right? When you're playing at that speed, it's tough to pull off some like really good. The songs need to be really, really good, right?
Yeah, but they really are good songs, and it's a cool record. I hope they make it over here, do another record. I think there is a single or something before this.
Okay.
Maybe. I haven't heard it. This is all that I've heard. And it's on Dig Records out of Virginia, so not too far from me. So maybe they'll come over at some point. Maybe we'll get to see them in the US. So. But anyway, it's a great record. So yeah, I feel like I'm just like, oh, fuck them for naming it this, and like, you know, whatever.
The other Loose Lips are really sleazy, if I remember.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's like a picture of a hooker on the cover of their album.
Oh, is there? Okay. Yeah. Well, I think this record is great, despite starting with saying that I didn't think they should take their name from another band. It's awesome.
They should have gone with Wrestling.
As a member of the 47th Scarecrow.
What's that? Sorry, Daniel.
Oh, I was just saying, as a member of the 47th Scarecrow on Discogs.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Scarecrow 47 is great.
Scarecrow 47. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, the last pick of the show. What's it?
All right, I'm going to keep it in Australia also.
Nice.
I guess north or south of Melbourne. I don't know. Sydney, Australia. The Bedwetting Bad Boys.
Oh, I remember that.
Great record. I bought. This is the second LP from 2016, 17, something. I bought their first LP. I think it was like 2013 when I was on tour. Somebody said it was good, but I just thought the name was awesome. And it's the bass player from Royal Headache. That was
okay.
And it has, like, you know, if you like Royal Headache, I think it's got a similar vibe. Obviously, the vocals are quite a bit different than Royal Headache, but it's like a mix of like kind of like mid-tempo, slightly faster, but then also these like kind of like monotonous, slower mid-tempo, like kind of droning on songs that are, I think, just as good, if not better, than like the kind of catchy poppy stuff. But yeah, terrible band name, great music, 2 LPs. They got 2 7-inches that I tracked down that are kind of hard to find, and neither of them are. Or the hard one to find is not that great, so don't bother tracking it down. I don't think. Stick with the 2 LPs and the easy to find 7-inch.
Cool. Anything Royal Headache related, I'm kind of interested in. Absolutely.
Yeah. Shogun's new band, Antenna. That band is great. I just saw a live video. They played a bunch of new songs. Sounds awesome.
Is that Royal Headache live record? Did that come out yet? Is that out yet?
Yep.
Okay.
And there's an unreleased song or two on that thing too.
Oh. So. I hate live records, but maybe I would buy that.
That's kind of why I mentioned it, because like I know people sometimes, especially like, sure, you want to listen to like a Ramones live record, that's one thing, but if it's a band from the last 10 years doing a live record, maybe people would be more dismissive. But that Royal Headache record, yeah, definitely has a couple unreleased songs, and it's real good. Yeah, it's pretty fucking awesome.
Nice.
Oh yeah, go check it out.
Beautiful. There we have it. Classic episode, as I predicted at the start of the show. A couple of Rick to Life mentions. But apart from that, it was a great show. I've been subliminally advertising next week's show. There it is behind us. Next Friday, whatever date that is, February 20th, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. We always appreciate everyone that tunes in every Friday to come and watch us make fools of ourselves, talking about a bunch of great records. We're probably going to continue chatting for a little bit after we stop the cameras rolling. See you next week. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Until next time. What's the catchphrase? We still doing that? Is that a thing still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay healthy and stay clean.
Clean.